Also, this is just incredible that this continues to happen with the investigation into the suspicious death of Argentinian prosecutor Alberto Nisman. New tests have revealed no traces whatsoever of any gun residue on the hands of the dead prosecutor. And meanwhile, new blood and hairs have been found in the apartment. It's just incredible, Lewis. A sophisticated test found no gunpowder or any residue whatsoever on the hands of Alberto Nisman, who initially was accused of having killed himself with this gun. And the release of the tests comes as dozens of cities in, I think it's close to 30 countries, have confirmed they'll be holding rallies to mark the passing of a month since Nisman was found dead in his apartment on February 18th. That's the date of the rallies. And they did a microscopic electron scanning test in a special lab in northern Argentina, and it is the second test in search of traces of gunpowder. This came 3 weeks after the unexplained death. The explanations ranged from suicide to an attempted operation against the government, and certainly if suicide is to be believed, you would think that it would be likely that traces of gun residue would be found on the hands of the prosecutor. It is possible, some experts have said, that you could have a suicide where there is no residue based on the 22 caliber Bursa pistol that was used, but it is unlikely. And after we had the news that there was no gun residue on Alberto Nisman's hands, Nisman's ex-wife, who happens to be a federal judge in Argentina, arranged to have Argentina's foremost medical examiner do an analysis of Nisman's apartment. It just so happens that this medical examiner, forensic pathologist, Osvaldo Raffo, who is the foremost examiner in Argentina, happened to have been my dad's professor for forensic medicine when my dad was in medical school in Argentina 40 years ago. This is the guy, Lewis, now in his 80s, who was brought in, top guy in Argentina. I don't remember if it's 300,000 autopsies that the guy has done. And he found, using a special compound, which then under black light exposes where there is or had been blood, even if it was attempted to be cleaned, that there was both blood and hair belonging to as yet unknown persons. Now, the hair could be very benign. There were numerous individuals in the apartment after the death of Alberto Nisman. You would expect that trace hairs could have fallen off of any number of individuals and that it would not signal anything unusual. However, blood brings up more questions, because if you have blood there, we now have to say, well, if it's old blood from when Nisman or someone else cut themselves a long time ago, that's one thing. But if it's Nisman's blood that was in various parts of the apartment, it puts yet another wrench in the suicide hypothesis, because if you shoot yourself dead, your blood would be localized or at least splattered in a way that makes sense. It would not be far away or in any part of the apartment. So the mystery continues to deepen there.
I think this just partially confirms what everyone was thinking about this anyway. But of course, the more people we have examining, the more information we have, and the more information we have, the more likely we are to find out what really happened here.
In addition to the forensic test that I already mentioned, they also took video and pictures, and they're actually going to attempt to do an angle analysis in order to determine whether, as I mentioned, the blood spatter patterns and locations would or would not be consistent with suicide and or someone else in the apartment being involved. It is just a stunning, stunning case that we will continue to follow. If you have thoughts on this, certainly feel free to talk about them on our Reddit discussion forum, davidpakman.com/Reddit. Send us email, tweets, or Facebook messages. We will be back right after the break.